So one of the issues I have with the kidney disease culture is stuff like this. Propaganda that depicts only the best parts of all of this. But that's not real. That's not reality. That's not what this is. There's this whole other dark side to dialysis that nobody seems to want to talk about. We live in a society where you're conditioned to be happy all the time. Like happiness is the only emotion that you can experience. Hey, don't complain. Don't be sad. Don't be upset because nobody likes a complainer. Keep all your problems, keep everything to yourself. Just take all of it, crumple it up into a ball, and then just shove it deep down inside of you, and then just forget about it. If you have someone that's that's fresh and new to dialysis, and they don't know anything about this, because they're brand new, they're going to look at this stuff, and they're going to think this is what dialysis is, until the first time they get admitted to the hospital because of a dialysis-related thing, or their fistula stops working, or their graft stops working. I have seen some fistulas that are just these grotesque, like masses of flesh that are just bruised and purple, that are swollen, and I know that the patients are in a lot of pain. And nobody tells patients that when they get on dialysis. And a lot of this propaganda is perpetuated by not only the workers that work in these professions, but also some of the patients. I can't tell you the countless times that I've scoured social media looking for somebody that can like tell me the truth about what this stuff is. And all you see is them jumping out of airplanes, skydiving, and climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, and they're extreme snowboarding, and they're doing just all you're seeing is a vertical slice of the best moments of their life. And nah, we don't want to talk about dialysis. I don't want to talk about that. But here, watch all the fun I'm having. Dialysis allows me to do all of this fun stuff. So dialysis is the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Then when you get a patient that's like, well, that's not my experience with this. I personally, speaking for myself, I actually have a very hard time doing dialysis. I hate dialysis. And the minute that you say something like that, the first thing people say is that, you know what, you're ungrateful. You're just an ungrateful piece of trash. You don't appreciate life. You need to be a little bit more grateful. Can't you see how God has blessed your life with you being able to do dialysis? Because there's some people who never had that chance. You need to be more appreciative. Now, notice amongst all of those things, these same people never talk about quality of life. All they care about is living. And they don't care about like what circumstances in which they stay alive. So you mean to tell me that you covet life so much that if you were to get into an accident or something were to happen to you, you would be comfortable being a vegetable for the rest of your life? I don't believe that these same people would want to live their life that way. And the people in the positions that could give you this information, the technicians, the doctors, the nurses, they just opt out of telling you anything. They do not make you privy to any of this information, even if you ask for it. So you're stuck in this place where you just have to find out as you go. And we're not talking about baking cookies here, right? We're talking about like major medical emergencies where things are happening to your body that could result in your death. I'm talking about strokes. I'm talking about heart attacks. I'm talking about cardiac events. Major infections that can kill you. But no, there's this idea that's perpetuated that, oh, well, this is just a party. And if you can't understand that this is a party, then you just have a bad attitude and nobody wants to talk to you. For me, right, everything in my life is great outside of dialysis. You got to take into consideration that some patients are doing dialysis 5-6 times a week. And it ain't like plugging in your Tesla to an outlet and charging it up. We're talking about major hours. 2, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5. I'm 4 days a week doing this at home. At 4 hours and 30 minutes a treatment. 4 hours and 30 minutes a treatment for 4 days a week. Let's put this into perspective, right? You can watch Avengers Endgame 2.5 times in one treatment I do one day. And these medical care professionals, they don't talk to you about like dialysis fatigue. That's a real thing. Dialysis burnout is a real thing. That's why you have so many patients just not showing up to dialysis treatments because they're so sick of doing this every single day. Or they cut their treatments short because they're tired of doing this every single day. These are things that patients are not privy to when they start this. And then when things start to happen, you don't really know what to do or know who to go to. And if you're somebody who's not like tech savvy and using the internet, your nurses, your techs, and your doctors, they ain't gonna tell you until it's already taken place. So let me give you some perspective, like from me, how I have gone about dialysis, right? I've had more surgeries on my graft than I can count. Like I've had so many surgeries, I can't even remember them all. The only thing I remember is like the last surgery that I got. Countless hospital stays. And we're not talking about 2 or 3 days, people. We're talking about a week and a half, 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, just in the hospital. 2 sepsis infections in the same year, last year. My body is constantly being sliced open and modified so that way I could be a better dialysis patient. Thousands of hours of dialysis treatments. Countless times missed with family because I'm either in the hospital or I'm on the dialysis machine. Having to walk away from physical activities that you love because you have no energy to do anything. And the biggest one for people is I'm constantly having to stab myself with needles on a daily basis. So no, dialysis is not a party. It's not fun. It's not supposed to be. Dialysis keeps you alive, and that's all it does. Dialysis is not designed to make you feel like Superman. It keeps you alive. That's all that it does. And you don't have to think that you're blessed by God to be a dialysis patient. It's okay to hate this.